Hello everybody and welcome back to Hearts of Iron, where I have advanced time only a few days here. I was intending to advance time until we were far enough to roll on all of these, and, well, it was only a couple of days. So, sure, we'll go ahead and roll on this one. Let's see what we get. Unwilling to part with their land there. And what about out over here? They gave us that one. Okay. So now there's only one remaining location that I know of. So that's absolutely wonderful. Let's get some infrastructure going here, and we should definitely be ticking forward during this. Let's get zoomed in a little bit here and get these queued up. Perfect. And we're ramping up for our war against the Allies. So that's absolutely fine. There's only one remaining location for us to purchase. So that means that we are eligible to declare war on the Allies at that point. Well, on specific members of the Allies, anyway. We would be, under a strict interpretation of the rules that we've set forth, we would be incapable of declaring on, say, the people down here, right? People's Republic of the Malay Archipelago, we'd not be able to declare on them. American Malaya, we're not eligible to declare on. But they're part of the Allies faction, and so we can rope them in by attacking people we are eligible to attack, such as France. So that sounds absolutely great, but we're just not quite ready to do it yet. Not quite yet. There's many arguments that we could make about when to pull the trigger on this, and it's always going to be a bit of a spicy time. That said, we just finished up all of these infantry, and I'm going to grab those infantry, form them into a new army here, and we're going to send them out over here. So they're going to frontline here, but I'm actually going to divide this in half, and we're going to have the other half come over here and frontline, like that. Now, this is going to be a kind of stretched thin force out over here. That's absolutely understood. And to that end, we may want to queue up some defenses in the area surrounding this. So we'll definitely get going on that. That'll be like up over here as well. Yeah, something along the lines of that. It's going to be rough, I think, no matter how we slice it, for certain areas here, for sure. But that's now under control, and then when we have our tanks finish up, we can send them here. Then our issue becomes almost entirely South America. Now, there's only so much we can do about South America. We're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 fronts down here. And they're going to take rapid gains out here if we don't have them controlled. So that's absolutely understood. The question is, when are these tanks going to be done? Not for a while. They are 50% done. So they're going to be done in May. So it takes like 10 months. We could deploy them early, but I would rather not, especially since we're waiting still on getting this last location. And we don't technically know how long that's going to take, because they might continue to turn us down. So we have to wait out the cooldown, and we're just going to wait until that's completed, for sure. I think that is going to be our go signal, whether we're ready or not militarily, because I would like this to be a little bit more of a challenge on a certain level. I mean, there are areas that are definitely going to be difficult for us to hold, like this. But they also have major supply issues out over here. Like, they have way too many troops here. They definitely can't supply that. I mean, we can see right now they're having supply issues. So, that's definitely interesting. It seems like these places that have very large armies sold their territory to us and then kept their armies and just contracted them back. That's going to be awkward. No doubt about it. But it's fine. So at this point, we should have a core that we can make, because we're working on making 2 of these at once, right? So if we go in here, we can see, yeah, Guangzhou is coring, but that's the only location coring at this moment. So let's get Guangdong going. Perfect. And that'll be absolutely wonderful. So we'll get another core online. As we can see, we're currently growing with 85k monthly growth in states. That's kind of insane. That's more than kind of insane. That is extraordinarily insane. That means recruiting one full army at a time, as we're doing here, is kind of not enough, because we're still net positive on our manpower. That's good, though, ultimately. That is a good thing. So these guys are going to be done when? They seem to train faster. 28 May and 5 May. So they're going to be very, very closely tied together in terms of time. Noted. Well, let's get some commanders going here while we're waiting. So we'll promote up a new commander here. There we go. It scrolls to the bottom of the list, but helpfully puts the commander on the top of the list. Okay, let's roll up another one, because we can do that. We can't quite get another one beyond that, but we're very close, actually. Okay, so we'll promote this up. Perfect. And there we go. So now we need 2 more. We're very, very close to getting another one, but we'll just have to wait a bit. Let's check in to see if we are ready to roll on that last remaining province. I don't think we are yet. Yeah, it takes a little while. So that is absolutely understood. 6 fronts down over here, though. That's a lot of fronts. They don't seem to have any military over here. Or here. Or perhaps here. Not that we know of, anyway. There's definitely military here and here. That's for sure. We'll see what happens as we get troops out there. But for now, I want to have at least something blocking those. That would be nice. How many troops does the US have over here? Not that many, actually. Okay. I feel like Canada actually has more troops. Interesting. So that's all very, very, very noted, right? The real question is, what else can we do? And the answer is, we could go after one of these neutral nations, theoretically. That is an option. There's the Norwegian People's Republic and Norway up there, but to be honest, I really do want to fight the Allies. So really, all we need to do is we need to take time forward a little bit. We need to get up into May, for sure. So we'll get these tank brigades on the 5th of May, and I'm really hoping that Sweden just sells this last piece of land to us right here. This is all one state here, so all we need is Oslo, and Fredrikstad is in that state as well. So that's absolutely fine. I think we're okay on that front. We've got all of our fronts that I'm aware of for the Allies dealt with, other than naval invasions, which will very likely happen. Other than naval invasions, all the fronts that I'm aware of, other than this one and these ones, are handled. But those do need to be handled at some point. Question is this that point? We're not currently constructing anything, and that's absolutely understood. Chile declared war on the Chilean Socialist Republic. No shockers there, and we are currently 1 month away from finishing up our modern tank brigade. So that is looking good. In theory. Yes, good in theory, but we're definitely not going to be able to have full coverage over all of this. I'm thinking right now that American Bolivia may not actually have any troops. In which case, a skeleton force would be able to overrun these. And potentially this as well. So I'm thinking about having one of our units that comes out, possibly the infantry, be split between these 3 locations, which is going to be mildly awkward. They're not going to have good coverage, but that's absolutely fine. And then the tanks can come down over here, is what I'm thinking right now. And then after that, we're going to have this location and this location. So really, this is going to be 4 front lines here. We'll have one here, one here, one here, and one here. And then we'll have 3 additional front lines here. So that will require additional troops, but we'll see what our timing is looking like. We may just cannibalize other armies in order to do that. That is a distinct possibility. In fact, I'm strongly considering it. I'm going to take 4 tanks here. I'm going to split this out into a new army. And then we're going to grab some of these guys. So I'm going to grab, these are all tanks here. I'm going to actually grab infantry. I'm going to grab 4 from here. I'm going to grab 4 from here. 4 from here. 4 from here. And 4 from here. And actually, I'm going to leave that. So that's good for now. We're going to have these guys come on out over here. Now, we do have another army up top here, so that'll be fine. And they're going to make their way over very slowly. We do have enough to give this a leader, so let's go ahead and do so. And we can cannibalize other armies as well. And that is indeed exactly what I'm going to do. So I'm going to grab 4 modern... Actually, I'm going to grab 10 modern tanks from here. Bring that only down to 16. And then we're going to grab 4 infantry units from here. Bring that up to 14 units. And then we could also grab some additional tanks from here. That brings us up to 18, and then this would bring us up to 20. There we go. And then we'll front line right over here, like that. So it'll take them a while to get there. This did not select everything. Okay. Now they did. Perfect. So they're all on their way over now. So we now have a plan for the majority of this. But what about these guys? Well, I'm going to cannibalize over here as well. So we're going to grab 4 units. And we're going to grab an additional 4 units here. And then I'm going to head in here. We're going to grab 1. Here we're going to grab 2. I'm just keeping it at around 20 per for now. Here I'm going to grab 2. Not there. Here. Yes. That only has 4 units right now. Here we're going to grab 4 divisions. That'll be fine. And then here I'm going to grab 3. Okay. So now these guys are going to be heading off over to here. Okay. So that gets us coverage in theory over everything once we have these trainings finished up, which will not take very much longer. So that looks okay. We've definitely got forces on the move here, but our armies are not necessarily going to be the strongest. We have to understand that. And the idea behind this is we're going to be wrapping up in particular locations that are relatively undefended or poorly defended fairly quickly, and then those forces will be re-diverted to places where we're having more trouble. That's the idea. But we're going to be stretched pretty thin with this mini fronts. And that's absolutely fine. So with that in mind, we are going to continue to check in. We can try to buy this again. Okay, Oslo Fjord, please be ours. We got it. Okay, at this point, that's it. That's the final purchase. It's 4 May right now. Now it's 5 May. Which means that our tanks should be wrapping up here. Okay, they're now done. So that's good. These 12 divisions are going to head out over here, and they're going to frontline against this. This is going to be spicy for them, no doubt about it. But they're just going to park here and try to hold this. We can also build in land forts out over here. If we expect we're going to get pushed back, the land forts are probably going to be a net negative for us, but that's okay. That is A-okay. So we're going to get them over here, and then all we need now, and we do have more troops under recruitment, that's fine. All we need now is these units of infantry to cover these 4, essentially, fronts down here. It's going to fundamentally be 4 fronts. So then we're going to need to start preparing our actual justification. So we're going to justify our war goal on France here. And this is going to be, oh wow, we can't actually attack France because they have islands. Okay. What about Poland? Yes, we can take Poland. So that'll be fine. That's going to take 215 days. We'll get that started now that we know for a fact that we have completed purchases. However, I do want to get our last round of construction done out over here. So that is all looking good. And we should definitely be ticking forward while doing this. Okay, the war in Chile is over. Sure. And of course, we're going to have to plan naval invasions and the such as well. But as of right now, all of our forces are needed to contain fronts that are located in mainland locations. So for the moment, we're not at all concerned about external invasion. We're not going to be attacking islands. We're not going to be defending against attack from islands. That will probably create problems. The idea here is we wrap up fronts like this one pretty quickly. And hopefully that ends up happening. So we need to go through all of our fronts. I'm going to go from west to east here. I'm going to grab these guys, and their plan is simply going to be an offensive attack like that. We'll order them to actually do it. The plan of attack is just attack. That's the idea here. So these guys are going to push down to here, and that's this force. How are we doing on command power? We've got enough to roll a leader, so let's do that. So we'll promote up this guy. We've got a lot of leaders, and we're going to put him in here. Okay. So as I was saying, we're doing this from west to east. So the next one down here is this army. Now, this army is really, 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 really under strength. To the point where I'm going to come over here and I'm going to grab them some additional units. And I'm also going to make sure that they have land force built. They do. So their goal here is just to hold this until reinforcements arrive. I'm not going to tell them to attack necessarily. Yeah, I'm not going to tell them to attack. So that's okay for now. Out over this direction, we've got this army. And they are somewhat under strength, but I'm still going to tell them to go ahead and attack. They should be a relatively strong army there. We've got these guys down here. They are going to be attacking like so. Excellent. We've got these guys out over here, and that is going to be a little bit exciting out over here. I'm going to have them hold for the moment. These fronts need to be consolidated together, and that'll happen after the war begins. But I'm also going to give them some defenses here. So we'll get that going. We've got this out over here, and this is similar, actually. I feel like we should have defenses built here as well. We mostly do, but we'll get that going. Out over this way in Sudan, I think that this is a front that we can likely clean up pretty quickly. That said, they do have a decent number of troops here, but that's fine for now. Okay, we're going to offensive line straight to like Addis Ababa here, and that'll be okay. Down this direction, once again, this is all probably fronts that are okay to be cleaned up. So we'll see about taking Nairobi. That'll be fine. And then up here in Europe, this is honestly just going to hold. Same with this here. We don't want to launch attacks there. Out over this direction, I feel like this is the same story here. Yeah. But what about up here? Here we might actually be able to get some attacks going. So let's go ahead and do an offensive line like this. We'd love to clean up some of these fronts nice and quickly. That would be ideal. For this, we don't actually know what the numbers are here, and it's going to be real interesting. So let's just see about pushing to the sea here, but I'm not terribly concerned about it. As far as this out over here goes, I do want these guys to kind of split the difference here. With our Marines pushing to here, and then these guys simply pushing and taking Copenhagen, ideally. Okay, Ireland is not a concern. France, I think we just hold at for now. This we should probably just hold at for the moment. And yeah, these are tanks. They're not going to be the best at it, but it's okay. Out over here, I would like to get this front cleaned up. I feel like this is maybe slightly achievable. Maybe. But we're going to take losses at the beginning of this. No doubt about it. I think we're going to have areas where we get pushed back. And that's okay. So we're going to start up that. I do want to get this attack going. So we'll set our offensive line to be simply that. And that's these guys out over here. They're going to be attacking. And out over here, I don't know if we can actually grab this. but we'll try. I don't know how pushable this one really is, but there we go. So that'll do for now, and that is basically all of these. Now, out over this direction, Canada is going to be a little spicy for us. I'd like the offensive line to push down to Toronto, though, and for now, that'll do. As far as the U.S. goes, this shouldn't be too bad, but they're going to put up a good resistance, I think. So that seems fine. We'll do that. Mexico might put up a good resistance as well. We have very little intel on them. So I'd like to just have our offensive line be something like this, and we'll get going on that. As far as this down here goes, these guys are going to offensive line and just try to link up out over here. And then these guys, their mission is going to be to push up to the capital up here, like that. So we'll see how that ends up going. As far as this out over here goes, I mean, I think we're probably very likely to take losses here, but we're still going to push in like this. Okay. Now, we do still have these guys that need to be assigned out over this way, right? And that's absolutely fine. I'm going to assign them to an army here, and they are going to be told that they're going to frontline right down over here. And then I'm going to grab half of them, and they're going to frontline right up over here. And then I'm going to grab half of those. This is a very small number of troops. And they're going to frontline down over here. And then I'm going to grab half of these, and they are going to frontline out over here. After the autosave, anyway. Okay, we're going to have to split this because of the impassable terrain. Okay, that's fine. We'll just put this guy out over here. Something like this. There's actually enough troops here, surprisingly. So I'm going to grab these guys, and I'm going to tell them, just get in here and take what you can. And then these guys out over here, again, they're just going to take what they can. This is going to be a very small amount of troops, and they might not be able to take this if this is actually defended. But we'll see. Hey, down over here, these guys are going to, once again, just push to the sea. And then these guys are just going to take over this territory. So something about like that. Okay. So that's all understood. Then we've got Brazil down over here, and I don't know how well this is going to go either. A lot of these are going to be very spicy, to be honest. We'll just do something kind of like that. And then down this direction, these guys are going to offensive line. Yeah, just like that. That sounds good. And then these guys, they are going to be doing... Oh, look, a war in Chile. They're going to be doing this. Okay, so as we finish up locations, we're going to be redirecting troops either wholesale, or we're going to break them up and reinforce these up into larger units. One or the other. But we're not ready for this war quite yet. We cannot currently declare it. We're waiting on this justification, and that's the only thing we're waiting on. But it looks like this war declaration is not, unfortunately, going to be this episode. I blame Sweden's stubbornness, but it's absolutely fine. Absolutely fine. So we're going to have chaos when this breaks out. There are so many fronts here. They're teeny tiny fronts, but they're extraordinarily numerous. No doubt about it. So that's going to be very interesting, for sure. But it is about time to put a cut in here, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. And next episode, I will probably advance time before we come in enough to have this completed, because there's really not much else for us to do other than just wait for that and maybe send some of these reinforcements to armies if they pop up in time. I'm not sure that they will, but I'm also not sure that they won't. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including ALS Gamer, Dark Horse, Ethan Feldman, Upper Cumberland Gamers, Nick Smarty, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, The Lounge, STL, Rornaz, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time.